Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Dan-A-Plooza. My guest at this time is graphic novel writer, colorer, and letterer, Sean McArdle.
Hey, how's it going, Dan?
Good.
It's good to see you
again. So, tell us, what was the biggest challenge in the quarantine for you?
Oh, geez. Going back to work after it was over. I really like being at home. The biggest challenge, I actually, I kind of enjoyed the different pace, really. Yeah, I mean, it sucked, and I did lose some. I had a couple friends that I lost, and that sucked. That was probably the biggest challenge. Yeah. But for me personally, in my own day-to-day life, I really kind of like the ability to stay at home and work from home, and then have a good excuse not to go do things.
Exactly. You going to work? COVID.
Yeah. The biggest challenge, though, was, I lost a few friends. One was only 35, and that still bothers me quite a bit. We were co-teaching a class, and I knew he was sick, but I didn't realize, at that time I hadn't heard of anybody that was 35 dying, but he ended up with a blood clot in his lung and died. So it sucks. We had just been, we had just co-taught that class that day, or the day before. It was the day before. We were supposed to be talking to each other and grading projects and stuff. So that was a really rough semester, trying to finish that up, talk to students about that. It still bothers me. The more I start tearing up if I talk about it, so I don't want to anymore.
Yeah, I'm sorry that happened to you, and certainly prayers go towards you.
Yeah, that was last October, so it's almost been a year. It'll be a year and a couple weeks.
Yeah.
I remember he was really excited for Halloween, even though he had a whole plan, even though it wasn't they weren't going to be able to go out and do anything. He was still going to have like Halloween at his house. So he was getting excited about that. Yeah. Anyway, whatever. Bummer. Let's not talk about
it. It certainly is a loss, but we definitely will send prayers and wishes, and we're sorry that you had to go through that. Condolences to you. So tell us about your novel, The Fuhrer and the Tramp.
So this was several years in the making. I think I came up with it in 2015, and John and I started writing it and researching at that time. And we took about a year before Dexter had an opening in his schedule for the art, which gave us a good chunk of time to be able to research it, write it, plot it out. And then I kept rewriting it as Dexter was sending more artwork, sometimes to challenge him, sometimes to challenge myself. And I could just see his abilities just blossoming. And I want to take advantage of those and kind of continue to push him, get him to draw things that he doesn't usually draw. So there are some sequences like, going on a yacht, going on a boat, having some Errol Flynn do some, some fun swashbuckling on a boat. Dexter doesn't usually draw that. So got him to draw some airplanes, some dogfights, some battles, a lot of different cool things. So, and that was not in the original scope of the story. But so the story, and in case your audience doesn't know, it's about Charlie Chaplin fighting Adolf Hitler while making The Great Dictator. So he made a movie where he makes fun of Hitler, and Hitler tries to assassinate him. So he fights back, and he teams up with Errol Flynn and Hedy Lamarr, and they help him finish the movie and punch a bunch of Nazis in the face.
So what has been the response from fans who have read your graphic novel?
It's been really good. I don't concern myself with that whenever I'm making it, thinking about what the response is going to be. So I'm like really surprised that people really embrace it and like it as much as they do. I mean, I made this to entertain myself, and that other people like it, I always find, kind of befuddling, surprising. So, but it's been really, really good.
So what was the best part for you to attend when you bring your projects or work to the conventions? What's the best part for you?
Oh, I really like engaging with people and talking to them, and learning their stories. I've had a lot of people talk to me about their projects, or talk to me about the comics that they want to work on, and being able to talk to them and engage them and encourage them to go out and chase their muse and make their project a reality. That's always my favorite thing. My favorite thing is about making that connection, and hopefully thinking that I can inspire somebody else to go out and make their book. I waited too long to make mine, and I spent too much of my life making things for other people. And it was this book that finally, where I had decided that I was going to make something for myself, do it for me, and not for anybody else. And I want other people to have that same experience and try to make something for themselves. And I like to, meet people at cons and, sometimes get presentations and talk about that, and really try to get people jazzed and excited about making comics and making something for themselves, making something that makes them happy. Those are the books I want to read. I want to read the books that they're not trying to sell it to a publisher or sell to an audience. They're just trying to make something that they enjoy and create something that is meaningful to them. Those are my favorite books. Those are the books I like to read, and hopefully I can just be maybe a little help, or a little part of the process that helps push them forward and helps them encourage them to make their book. So that's my favorite part.
That's awesome. I don't know if you've ever met the comic book. He also kind of works on comic books as well. Marvin Wynn. He works on the Edge comic book series.
Okay.
I know that he was at Steel City Con the last time you were.
Let me look him up. Oh yeah. I remember. I talked to him just very, very briefly. Yeah, good stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely. So is there another novel of yours in the works?
Yeah, I was in fact, I was working on it just now. Well, right before we started talking. So that's how I spend my Friday nights, making comics, right? See, it was a lot better during COVID, whenever, I didn't feel like I was supposed to go out and socialize on a Friday night. I could just stay home and make my funny books. I was going to share some with you. Let me pull it up. Okay, so this okay. Trying to figure out how to share a screen on this. There you go. Cool. So this is my next book.
There we go.
Did it come up?
Yep. I shared it.
It's called Wolves of Babylon. I want to do for werewolves what Bram Stoker did for vampires.
Oh, wow.
I want to make the titular werewolf. So you hear some of the art. So I'm working with Dexter again on it, and I'm doing the coloring and lettering and writing. I'm pretty happy with the way it's turning out. So yeah, here, let's go to the groovy stuff. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Love that werewolf.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we're going on. It's like more of an action adventure book with Chaplin, and now we're going straight up horror with werewolves.
It kind of reminds me of the horror movie like the Werewolf in London.
Yeah. In fact, one of the chapters of this book is called American Werewolf in Baghdad.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Did you get inspiration for that movie, or is that something you just came up with in your head?
I did. I had to for a certain point, but really part of me making this is because I don't see that literary werewolf. I mean, like if we were to take, here, I'll just show some more pages. If we were to say like who is, if we're doing Family Feud and there's like 5 answers up on the board and you have to say name a vampire, 99 points go to Dracula, and then I don't know, there's no other points. Dracula gets all the points. Right? I want that for werewolves. If I say like there's 5 werewolves up on the board, name a werewolf. I can't even name one. The Wolfman. Well, no, that's not a particular werewolf. Long Chain. Yeah. Do you even know his name in that movie? Or American Werewolf in London. Well, what was his name?
Mr. Werewolf.
Yeah, Mr. Werewolf. Or Jack Russell from Werewolf at Night, Werewolf by Night. I guess I don't know, but that's what I want to create. I want to create that. So my werewolf is Nebuchadnezzar.
It does. It reminds me a bit of a little bit of The Howling and a little bit of Van Helsing.
Yeah. I think I'm going more like more of my inspiration probably is like Dracula is the biggest inspiration, really. Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula, especially that movie. But it doesn't just take place in the past; it also takes place in modern days. I haven't colored all the pages yet.
Oh, wow!
Uncolored pages. So, still working on some of the non-color pages. But I was doing some lettering right before we started talking.
Do you have like a whole team that works with you on this?
No, it's just me and Dex.
Oh, okay.
So,
how long does it take you guys?
Oh, we've been working on it for about 2 years now. We have about 200 pages done. I was wanting to take it around and pitch it at Comic-Cons last year while I was, whenever Fuhrer and the Tramp came out. But since there was no Comic-Cons, we just stayed home and kept making more comics. So
exactly.
Yeah. So yeah.
I like that it's dark and gritty also.
Yeah, it's got some grit to it. It's not for the squeamish, that's for sure. And sometimes I get scared while making it, thinking about that as like, am I allowed to make this anymore? I'm like, fuck it, I'm making it for me. I don't care. I don't care if anybody. I'm making it for me. I want it for me. I don't care.
I'm the target audience.
I'm the target audience. Audience of one. Audience of one. All you. I'm making it for me, audience on audience of one, and all of you fuckers only get the privilege of reading it. I'm not making it for you. You get the privilege of reading it. That's it. Don't make me rescind my privilege.
Was Dracula, like, were you always a fan of Dracula?
Oh, yeah. Like going all the way back. Might have been one of the first books I read as a kid even. I didn't understand all the words. But yeah, going way back, like, but also American Werewolf in London was probably the first R-rated movie I ever saw.
Oh, yeah.
At a way too young age. I was in kindergarten. It was on HBO, and my dad just let me stay up and watch it. And I probably shouldn't have. It kind of warped my brain. But yeah, I was always fascinated. Like at that age, I was way into all the Universal monsters and the Hammer films. I loved the Hammer movies. I always found the Hammer movies to even be more creepy. Maybe because they were British. I don't know. But as a kid, I just thought like the Christopher Lee Dracula, and especially the Christopher Lee Frankenstein, was really scary. And what I found is like you have to be a certain age. There's an age between like 6 and 10 that you have to be whenever you first see those things. When you first see like kaiju movies or Godzilla movies or Hammer horror movies or the Universal monster movies, and if you don't see them at that point, I think it's before puberty. If you don't see them in that window between like 6 and 12, or whenever you start being too cool for that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
then you just don't get it. I just noticed that a lot of people they're just not into it. They just don't get the appeal to the Universal movies. But for me, that was like I was right in that target demo. I think there was I remember at that time too. Didn't they make these cool Frankenstein and Dracula, Bela Lugosi Dracula with statues and stuff in the early 80s? Remember seeing those and always wanting those, and Mom would never buy them for me. But there was that, and there was you had the Dracula, the Marvel books like Dracula and Werewolf by Night. I loved all that shit when I was a kid.
I was thinking of the movie Monster Squad.
Oh, I love that movie. Yeah, I was right in the target demo. I think I was 10 when that came out. I was right up my alley.
And I always think about the Wolfman and
the
Wolfman Cottonards and.
But that's one thing I've seen. I've never found anything that I've never found a werewolf movie or book. There's a lot that I really like, but I've never found one that speaks to me. The one that I really dig and really like I do like Dracula or the book Dracula, or even all the iterations of Dracula. And that's kind of what I want to create. I want to create that. There's not that out there, and what it does, this whole book, it speaks to, it's about generational trauma and the way that the present is built on the past. And so we have echoes of the past in our daily lives and we don't even realize it. And we're all just built upon all the trauma and suffering of all the previous generations. And how do we overcome that? That's really what I'm digging into with my silly little werewolf story. But that's what I want. I want to see I want to see Nebuchadnezzar and ancient Babylon and werewolves alongside some rock and roll Teen Wolf werewolves. Put it all in there. So some dog soldiers, just get it all in there. Have some dog soldiers going on. And the first book, I have that. I reference dog soldiers. I reference Howling. Just all the greats.
Yeah, I also was thinking about the Frankenstein, I believe, with Robert De Niro.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. It's okay. It's Kenneth Branagh. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah. But it's one thing whenever Keanu Reeves is miscast as Jonathan Harker in Dracula.
Right.
There's still something kind of charming about it. Something I kind of like about it's kind of charming. Although looking back, it's could you imagine Hugh Grant in that role? It should have been Hugh Grant. Should have been Hugh Grant. But anyway, yeah. But the Frankenstein. If you're going to miscast the monster, Robert De Niro, that's a little bit harder. Jonathan Harker is one thing. Miscast Jonathan Harker. Don't miscast the monster.
Yeah.
Robert De Niro was definitely miscast.
Yeah.
He was so miscast. It should have been Ron Perlman.
It really should have, because that rides on the whole movie. So if you miscast it, you've lost your audience.
Yeah, exactly. But it was beautiful. It's really beautiful.
Oh yeah.
This weird Shakespearean vibe to it. There's a lot of stuff I like about it. But the thing that I gotta like about it, the thing I gotta love about it is the monster. Whereas the Dracula, God, I love Gary Oldman in that. Gary Oldman is so fucking great in that movie. So fucking great.
Oh, yeah, he does a tremendous performance.
Oh, it's one of the best. One of the best ever.
So what can we look forward from you from 2022?
Well, hopefully I can get this first issue out. It's only 200 pages at this point. Right now I'm debating. I'm trying to figure out, and it was what I was working on right now. I'm debating on making a 64-page first issue or just make it a regular 32-page first issue. There is an easy place to break it and cut it off and make 2 issues, but I don't know. I keep going back and forth on it. I can see the value to both. I kind of just, I like to over deliver. I want everybody to feel like they got value for their money, so I want to give them a 64-pager. maybe it's too much of an ask to ask you to, you know, sit and read this werewolf book for that long. Maybe it needs to be just a shorter chunk, a shorter bite. You know, I don't know. I keep going back and forth. So hopefully, what you should expect in 2022, we might be coming out with a trade paperback, or not trade paperback, a hardcover of Fuhrer and the Tramp that has extra material, has extra story. We're actually working on a new like right now it's at 10, but it'll probably end up 20-page short story to actually go along with the of Charlie Chaplin, to go along with Fuhrer and the Tramp. And hopefully the first issue of this gets out. Not the first issue. Hopefully it starts, and, you know, like I said, we have 200 pages done right now. It's just kind of cutting it up into like, what is the issue? Because I was writing it for the trade, to be honest. I was aiming for the trade. I think this story kind of lends itself more toward, like I said, my go-to point wasn't other comics; it was Dracula. So it's more novelistic, and each issue is more like a chapter. And, you know, I feel that that's my pacing for it, is more trying to create Dracula, but with pictures, you know, as a funny book, as cartoons.
The visual representation of Dracula.
Yeah. I mean, like, I was thinking about writing as a novel, but it's like, why would I do that? I fucking love comics. Comics. I think the comics are just as legitimate of an art form as novels. So why not?
Exactly.
Why not make a comic book? You know.
We look forward to that, and we will promote that in the page as well. So
I can't wait for you to read it, Dan.
So I'm going to go ahead and end the broadcast, and I want to thank you for being my guest, and continue to support Dan-A-Plooza. We have one more guest at 9, Morgan Ziva, actress and model, so stay tuned.
Cool. Peace.
Thank you.